All Things Geek. This is Omniac. This is episode 82, and we are live. So, with me today are the regular band of crazies, actually, some of whom you may have never seen before. Fal, they've probably seen you in those incredibly funny videos you did tasting mana, and do you remember those?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I
was actually thinking about that last week, too.
That's funny. I actually went to look at them. You know, they've had hundreds of hits on their YouTube channel. Yeah. So I always thought that was kind of cool. The original one is lost forever. I think Chad deleted it. But, yeah, it's too bad. Bob, you're here, too. Bob, do you have the magic in you?
Always.
You got to post that link for that video again. I want to see it, because it's such a catchy song.
yeah, definitely. I will. I'll post that in the show notes. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Bob used to do a Magic the Gathering mini-cast, and where he would talk about his magic skills. There's a song by a guy called Bob, who's the song's entitled "I Have the Magic in Me." So that was his intro. But was that amazing to you that we found that, Bob?
It was very obscure.
Right. Well, I am Mr. Obscure, so yeah. I'm not the king of Google. That was Steele, but we got Chris Price. Chris.
Hey, guys.
What the hell is that behind your head?
What?
Explain to the listeners. Yeah, that.
That is my periodic table of beer.
Wow. So does that actually aid you in brewing, or is that a novelty item?
That is a novelty item. Conversation starter is what it is. So.
Very
I
cool.
saw it in the store and said, "Ooh, I have to have that." So.
Very cool. Yeah, I almost asked you last week if it was a periodic table, and I went, it's like half of it's missing. I don't know what that could be. So cool. How is your peanut butter brown?
It is very tasty. It needs more peanut butter in it, actually, but that's the next time I brew. I want to try it again. You barely can taste it, so I'm gonna up it just a little bit. So.
Out of curiosity, how long does a batch of beer take you to make?
This one took 2 hours to brew, 14 days to ferment in the first stage, another 10 days in the second stage, and another 2 weeks in each individual bottle.
Wow. And how many bottles were in your batch?
About 50.
And you bottled them yourself, hand bottled them?
Yes, I hand bottled them.
Wow.
I actually cheated and used some growlers on some of them instead of regular size bottles. So.
Ah, okay. Very cool. Very cool. That's fairly industrious of you.
It's always one of my little things I want to try to do, and it's coming out pretty good. I've had friends say you need to do this more often, so that's always a good thing.
And Bob has a similar passion. Bob, why don't you tell him about your world famous chili?
Well, it's not really world famous. It's a recipe that my dad had made, but it's really good. Everybody that has tasted it has liked it so far.
And Bob only cooks up a batch once a year. When is that, Bob?
I'd probably do it maybe 3 or 4 times when it's cold outside.
What are you most known for?
What do you mean by that?
Which batch is the most well known in the in your work circles?
I make a mean batch of vegetarian chili.
That's right. At Christmas time, right, Bob?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Instead of putting hamburger meat in it, I put mushrooms.
Very cool. Very cool. Falchion, on the other hand, he just serves up God.
No, you know what? When you talked about Bob's famous chili recipes, I am hosting a ministerial, and that's a gathering of ministers in a couple weeks. And actually, one of the things I usually make is a couple big batches of chili. Most of them are meat, but I do actually make some vegetarian chili for a couple people who can't eat meat and whatnot. So.
Wow. That is very cool. Very cool. I had no idea you had that skill.
Oh, my chili, it may not be as good as Bob's, but it's good.
We have to send you some of Bob's chili, then it'll be internationally known. So, do you guys remember Steele? We mentioned him earlier in the show. He was one of our early hosts, good friend of the show. But he was talking about something on Facebook the other day, and it occurred to me that I had not, as of yet, seen a new Dresden novel. So I did a little research. Who would like to know what date the new Dresden novel comes out? Anyone?
I'd be interested.
Okay. Well, I would say very soon. The 15th book in the Dresden series, which is going to be called Skin Game, is coming out on May 27th, 2014, so just 9 days away. How's that for cool?
Very.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, yeah. Any other news you guys want to share? Bob, you want to tell them what we found out about Star Trek?
About the fact that J.J. Abrams is not going to be directing the next film?
Correct, correct.
That's old news.
It's not
I
that
think
old.
that was a given.
What's that?
I said, well, I figured it was kind of a given since he's doing the Star Wars franchise now.
It's a good. Yeah, that's true. Which is exactly why they said that he couldn't. He could not dedicate enough time to do it justice. So, does anyone know who the new director of choice is for Star Trek? Anyone? 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 Bueller?
You told me, but I forgot.
Don't know.
It's Robert Orci. Robert Orci.
And what did he direct before?
That's the thing. He's never directed anything before.
Ooh.
He was both a writer and a producer for Star Trek and Into Darkness. So he's familiar with the franchise. And he was a writer-producer for Abrams projects like Alias and Fringe. And he was a producer on Sleepy Hollow and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But he has not ever directed anything before. What do you guys think of that? I know Chris Price, it sounds like you want to weigh in.
Not real happy with somebody who's never directed something that big. You know.
Is he a protege of J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. He's actually J.J. Abrams' pick for the part for the position.
Because in my mind, that reminds me a little different, but with the Star Wars, when they were doing the Muppets like Yoda, they wanted to get, of course, who?
Jim Henson.
Yeah,
Jim Henson. And Jim Henson said, sorry, I'm too busy. Same thing that's going on with Abrams right now. Here, take Frank Oz, basically my understudy, who hasn't really done anything big, but yet does Yoda and pulls off amazing. So it's apples to oranges, but it's a neat idea.
But the difference is Frank Oz had been helping Jim Henson do like Sesame Street and stuff for years before that. So I mean,
well, yeah, but Orci has been working on Star Trek since the reboot, so he's part of the team, you know.
But there's also a difference between being a puppet master or a Muppet master and directing an entire film.
Well, like I said, I do agree. It's apples to oranges. It's just similar. The other question I have, does he have the blessing, as it were, of J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, well, I mean, he does, 100%. As a matter of fact, the network is what has the hesitance, not the creative team. Creative team is behind him 100%. So the only hang-up was getting the studio to sign on. So, but it looks like it's a done deal. What do you guys now? Is this better or worse for you, Price, than Affleck being the new Batman?
Oh, this is better than Affleck being the new Batman. So
I don't know. Did you see the pictures that they released this week?
It's just like idiot in a costume. So
yeah, I'm just saying he's wearing the costume. He fills it out.
That would be the same thing as putting myself in the Penguin costume. Doesn't mean I'm going to replace Danny DeVito. Sorry.
Let's talk about the Penguin a little bit more since you brought it up. It's a good segue. Very funny. Gotham. You guys know about Gotham on the new fall lineup?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Val, have you heard about this in Canada?
I have, but like I don't have TV hooked up, so I've heard a little bit, but not much.
All right, so Gotham is coming in fall, and it is a prequel to the whole Dark Knight storyline. It's going to give the origin story in the sense of it dealing with Bruce Wayne losing his parents in Murder Alley. But it looks like the story is centered upon Commissioner Gordon. Let's see here. What else we got going on?
Detective Gordon back in the day.
Yeah, right. He's new Detective Warden, actually, on this one. And it's also apparently going to give us Catwoman's early years. And when I say early, I mean it looks like preteen or tween years. It's also going to show us Poison Ivy about the same age. And it's going to show us both the Penguin and the Riddler much younger. Benjamin McKenzie is starring as Detective James Gordon. We've got David Mazouz as Bruce Wayne. Cameron I can't even say this, Bikondova, Selena Kyle. Robin Taylor is Oswald Cobblepot. Of course, who's Oswald Cobblepot?
The Penguin.
The Penguin. And then Alfred Pennyworth is Sean Pertwee. That's what's been announced so far. So, what do you guys think about this?
Well, it's on Fox, is it not?
It is. It's not on already been canceled.
I'm leery.
I would say the same, except it's better than ABC, right?
If it was on CW, I'd give it more of a chance because they seem to have the superheroes down pat.
Unless you name the show The Cape, in which case they hate you.
Well, that was NBC.
Well, that's true. It should have been CW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Smallville was a big hit, went on for 10 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Arrow's doing very well. It's going on. This is going to be its 3rd season coming up. They're about to launch The Flash, which have y'all seen the trailer for that yet?
I have. What do you guys think of The Flash?
I haven't seen the trailer.
I saw the little quick tease between the Arrow and the Flash at the end of the Arrow season finale the other day, which was awesome. Now they got a 5-minute segment online for it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the fact that it's coming out is pretty freaking cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like they're seriously going to try to do it some justice, though.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of this whole superhero resurgence on television?
Anybody else want to go first?
Anyone? Nothing. Okay. Well, we have no opinion.
Let me say this. I was trying to give the other 2 time to say something before I jumped in. I think what Marvel's doing on ABC, which is tying the movies in with the TV show, is excellent. Arrow seems to be doing its own thing, which is awesome. Flash looks like they're going to do it the same way. As far as Gotham, I'm leery. Just the way I don't know. Just a weird setup they're doing with it. So let's wait and see.
In my mind, it's one of those things. You got a few successes, so you flood the market with everything else, and eventually it's become so saturated, and some are going to be put out that aren't going to be worth it, that it's going to give a lot bad names, and when that happens, there's going to be a big culling of the herd, and you're probably going to lose some good ones in that as well. So, I don't know.
Speaking of jumping on the bandwagon, did you guys hear about the fall 2014 show on Sci-Fi called Z Nation?
No.
It's a 13-episode zombie series.
There you go. I mean, that's you all over.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what do you think that this is just because, of course, Walking Dead is so huge?
Of course.
There's also been some word that there might be iZombie coming out on CW.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, have you read the synopsis of it?
Well, it's an adaptation of the comic book series from Chris Robertson and Michael Alfred, which was published on Vertigo. That's all I know about it. What did you hear about it?
It is a 20-something year old that gets turned into a zombie, and she goes to work for the morgue, so she can keep up with her brain, so she can stay human. You know, she can get fresh brains and stay human. But in process eating the brain, she's able to see the murders or how the other people died, and she works with her morgue director, her boss, and a police detective to solve murders.
Yeah, it sounds like another very scantily clad soap opera. Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
In Z Nation, I don't really have an opinion on it. I think it'll be fine. It's 13 episode series, so yeah, I could watch almost anything for 13 episodes.
Well, I was talking about iZombie. I don't know about Z Nation. That's the first I heard of it. So.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of information on it, but we'll probably look into it when it gets closer to the fall. All right, well, let's take our first break. For those of you that are not watching the video, we'll be right back after a brief message. For those of you watching the video live, there's actually no brief message. So,
well, I can plug our new sponsor.
Yeah, Chris, why don't you do that?
All right, we have a actual sponsor. It is Soul Shelter Music. Soul Shelter Music is a friend of mine, and he actually... Let me see if I can share the screen real quick. I want to show us how to get a hold of him. Sorry about this.
It's okay. You can cut it out in post.
Hey,
it's me.
There you go. Yeah, this is his... You can get to him by going to YouTube. Soul Shelter Music. We'll put a link in the show notes for it. Anyway, Mark is willing. He produces CDs, helps people mix their musics, and actually is working on one right now that's going to be released very soon. And I've heard clips of it. It's very well done. He's willing, if anybody wants to talk to him about him helping them with their first song that you've already recorded, he's willing to... This is a special for All Things Geek people, fans of the show. Contact him through his YouTube page, and I'll flash his email up in a second. For $50, he's willing to mix and master your first song that you've already recorded, and with a turnaround with 1 week or less. So it's a $50 donation to his PayPal tab, and his email address is soulsheltermusicusa@gmail.com. And that's it.
Thanks, Chris. Why don't you also go to All Things Geek real quick since you have your screen up?
All right.
And the reason for this is, as Chris mentioned, Soul Shelter Music is our official sponsor of this episode. And you, too, can be an official sponsor of an episode. All you have to do is go to our website. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on iTunes, you want to go to www.allthingsgeek.info. If you scroll down just a little bit, Chris, at the bottom of each posting is a support the show banner link where you can decide to either have a mention, your name, or whatever you want mentioned on the show for $5, or you could become a sponsor, or you could get an official banner ad on the show as well. So just to let you guys know, the podcast is free for you, but not for us. So if you want to help support the show, we would love for you to become an official sponsor as well. Another thing to remember on the side there, you've got an ATG MP3s and another one, the All Things Geek store. That's the Amazon store. If you're going to be shopping, if you're going to be shopping on Amazon anyways, go ahead and click on the link. Even if what you're shopping for is not on our link, okay, it's not one of the things that's shown there. Once you click on that link and you go through to Amazon through that portal, If you look up at the screen, you could see that it says Amazon.com/atg.info. You're now on our Amazon page. Anything you buy, a percentage of it goes to the show. So it's a great way to do some shopping and a great way to help support the show. So if you guys are shopping, shop through us. Okay, I think that's going to do it for our commercial break.
There you go.
Let's get on with the show. All right. Do you guys, I'm not even sure if I've spoken about this before, and it's kind of weird because it's so intrinsically linked with Steam. Are you familiar with Humblebundel? Any of you guys?
Yep.
Nope.
Who said no?
I did. I said no.
Okay. Fal, you're aware of it?
Yep.
Okay, so let me tell you what Humblebundel is. You're going to want to go to humblebundle.com, and what it is it's a web page where various game distributors and creators, some indie, some not, there's even some Square Enix games in here, have offered their games for basically free to Humblebundle for them to raise money for Children's Play Charity and Electronic Frontier Foundation. So they bundle together 2 or 3 games or one big game or sometimes 5 or 6 games. And whose dog is barking?
That would have been Bob.
That's my neighbor's dog. And
Bob, can you mute out, please?
yeah, I was just about to.
Okay. All right, folks. So they bundle together a series of games, and they allow you to pay what you want for those games. You go to humblebundle.com. For 24 hours, they have a special online, and it's the bundle of the week. They've got demos, they've got reviews of the game, they've got demographics and statistics, and you name your price, which sounds pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, if you go past the average, okay, so right now the average donation for this week is $6, you'll unlock 3 other games that you get, and if you pass the $10 mark on your donation, you'll add 2 more games to that as well. So, I just did a $7 or $8 donation just 2 days ago, and I got some fantastic games, one of which was a game I'm going to talk about now called Dear Esther. But the point I'm trying to make is that this is an outrageously great way to build your library. They email you a link to a page from which you can download onto your computer these various games. That link is yours permanently, especially if you create an account. You can always log in and look at your history of games. But it also gives you the Steam validation codes. So what is a Steam validation code? What does that do for you, Fal?
Sorry. That allows us to play it through Steam, even though you're not directly buying it through Steam, right?
Right, exactly. And in Steam, as we've said before, is kind of like iTunes for video games. Chris White, Price, did you ever download Steam, by the way?
Yeah, I downloaded it, but I hadn't bought anything through it. I've got an Origin account, which is the same thing.
Okay.
Just a different thing.
So fair enough. So, I mean, obviously there's some indie titles and there's some other titles that we've heard of, that we've seen, that maybe we don't want to spend $50 on, right? Humblebundle is a way to help out a charity and do the same thing. They also have the Humble Books bundle, which is a bundle of, right currently, is Doctor Who, 60 Doctor Who comic books that you'll get delivered electronically for a donation. Different levels of donation unlock more books. And then there's the Humble Store. The Humble Store has larger or bigger games that then maybe they would give on the donation page, available at a substantial discount. So just to give you an example, let's see. What's Hillbilly Gold's real name there, Fal?
Mountain Blade.
Mountain Blade. Hillbilly Gold. We've talked about it quite a few times. Mountain Blade is $14.99 on Humblebundle, and a portion of that goes to the charity. 10%. Let's see what else they've got on here. Their best-selling game right now is Euro Truck Simulator 2 Gold Edition, Alan Wake franchise, Lego Marvel Superheroes. By the way, Lego Marvel Superheroes, half price, $9.99 on their page. So it's a great way to try out games that maybe you don't want to pay full price while helping out a charity. So let me tell you about Dear Esther. Are you guys familiar with a story-driven game?
Yep.
Are you familiar with a story-driven game that's eliminated all game mechanics?
Mm.
I'm not going to talk as much because I was actually looking at this game. So.
Okay. Well, currently it's $2.49 on Humblebundel, and it's a Chinese game. Let me read to you what they say. It immerses you in a stunningly realized world, a remote and desolated island somewhere in the outer Hebrides. As you step forwards, a voice begins to read fragments of a letter, Dear Esther. And so begins a journey through one of the most original first-person games of recent years, abandoning traditional gameplay for a pure story-driven experience. Dear Esther fuses its beautiful environments with a breathtaking soundtrack to tell a beautiful story of love, loss, guilt, and redemption.
Missed.
So, go ahead.
Missed.
No.
That's what it reminds me of just by the description.
By the description, absolutely, but then I played it. And I was like, this is like nothing I've ever seen before. Normally, what commands would you expect in a game?
Forward, back, fire.
Okay, eliminate fire. What other game?
Pick up.
Eliminate pickup. How about just forward, backwards, right, and left?
Okay.
That's it. Literally all you're doing, and these are some amazing graphics, by the way, very immersive. You get into it, you feel it, the sound, the seagulls, the waves, everything, and it's incredibly creepy because it's got that like, gosh, what is that game called, Bob? Oh my gosh, it was made into a movie, not Resident Evil, the other one.
Silent Hill?
Silent Hill. It's kind of got that kind of feel to it. You know, just kind of macabre and off, a little gritty. And so far, literally, nothing has happened except as I walk through, I trigger parts of the story. And it's all audio. So I'm just wandering around a deserted island at this point. I don't even know if I'm a male or female. I'm assuming I'm Esther, but I don't even know that. What do you guys think? Would you play a game like that?
I don't know.
Does it have puzzles?
It has no interaction other than exploration.
You lost
so
me
far.
already.
Val, what do you think?
I don't know. I was really torn on this game because I watched it when they were talking about it on Steam, and I went back and forth. It's one of those games I think is a great idea, and I would think a lot of people would like it. I would more wait, but I'm waiting myself for someone else to play it and say, oh, it's absolutely amazing. My games are kind of like my movies. If it doesn't have a death count, I may not be totally interested in it.
All right, well,
you guys remember Myst from way back when?
Yes.
It kind of has that sound to it.
Yeah, that's what Chris had said. Fantastic. Well, and I'm here to tell you that it doesn't feel like anything I've ever played before. It literally feels like, hey, I want to go that way, so I go that way. No,
But this had puzzles to go with it too. So.
Yeah, it was interactive.
Yeah, this is all has to do with mood and setting. The music, the sound effects, the gritty texture to the graphics. And I don't mean that these are stylized or bad graphics in any way. They're actually very photoreal. You know, especially the water. They do really good water effects. And you're on an island with a lighthouse, and everything's falling apart, and there's garbage everywhere, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's been incredibly creepy, even though nothing's actually happened. Now, when I say there's no puzzles, I don't know if that's completely true. Think of it this way. Think of it as being on the island Lost and running into all the stuff they found on Lost, but no other people are there. and there's nothing trying to kill you. Would it still be interesting if you find these random and obscure things, like I found spray painted on a cave wall in glowing letters, a chemical formula. I don't understand the formula. I don't know why it's there. I don't know where it came from. And I don't know if it's going to be important, but I spent 15 minutes looking at it trying to figure it out. Does that make sense? In other words, the game is about as much of an instruction manual as life does. So I'm not saying that there's no puzzle to it. I'm saying that I haven't figured out what the point of the game is, but it's so pretty, and it's so well constructed that I spent over an hour and a half just wandering around the island, and I've literally found nothing of incredible interest yet. Just a bunch of little pieces and stuff.
Yeah, the music and the video, the graphics, when I watched on Steam, that's what hooked me to the game. And like I said, unless there was a body count or whatnot, I don't even really give it a second look. But this one, I watched it over and over and over again because it just looked amazing. It looked like one of those things that would just enthrall you.
Yeah, absolutely. So in any event, I think I'll grab some screenshots and share them with us on the Facebook page over the next week. Just some of the stuff that I'm running into. I'll go ahead and post a couple of screenshots in the show notes too. And if I find anything or find out what the heck these weird hieroglyphs I keep running into are, I'll let you know. The other thing that's cool is, and I'm not sure if it's time triggered or geographically triggered, but you get little pieces of this letter as you go through the exploration. So, you know, the first couple steps you take, the narrator's voice, who's like this really awesome British voice, comes on and starts reading this letter, and it's beautifully written and really well constructed. It doesn't feel like the broken English you get in a lot of these games with the really bad voice acting. This is top notch. This is something you could see in a movie that's very disturbing and a little off-putting, but not for any specific reason. You know, it just makes you feel slightly off, and it's fantastic. So maybe I'll put an audio clip as well from the game. I'm not sure if I want to do that, but I'll definitely put a link to the video capture from in-game play. So fair enough. Any questions, guys?
Is it just me, or is it hilarious that I hear a minister talking about body count?
You should see this minister with a shotgun in Left 4 Dead. He's pretty awesome.
Unless you stand in front of him.
No, that's me. I'm the one that they won't stand in front of. Speaking of which, Val, we should play Left 4 Dead again sometime soon.
I was thinking the exact same thing. It's been too long.
It is. It has. And I've got this awesome new computer. I won't have lag. So I want to see what it's like without lag. Very cool. Okay, let's go from there to something very similar. Fal, I hate you.
You started watching it, didn't you?
I did. Tell the people why I hate you.
Well, I'm not sure why. I mean, there's several reasons you could hate me after that.
I've got enough shows I'm watching right now. I didn't need another show, especially one that I have to pay attention to because it's subtitled. Oh,
really? Mine isn't subtitled.
Yours is in English?
Yeah, mine's in English.
Well, then don't watch it on Hulu.
What show are you watching?
Oh, I stumbled across it on Netflix one day. Called Sword Art Online. It's actually, I was talking to my brother-in-law about it, or brother-in-laws, plural, because I had a house full today. It's based off of a manga, which I might pick up because I like the idea. I wouldn't say it's the greatest anime ever, but the idea of what this show is about and the issues they deal with is just amazing. How far are you into it, Omni?
I just saw the first episode, so let's keep it spoiler-free beyond episode 1.
Yeah, and what I'm going to share is basically shows up in the first 5 minutes, so I'm not going to ruin it for anyone. The year is 2024, 2025, I think, so it's not that far in the future. And the concept is that they finally came out with a fully immersive MMO that you put a headset on and you're visually in that world, and you're a part of that world. And it's the first MMO ever to do that, and people are excited for it. People are eager for it. So opening day, people have camped out for days for this game. And there's only, I think they said on opening day, they only allowed 20,000 people in worldwide. And so everyone jumps into the game, and they're all excited. They start playing, but at the end of the day, everyone's like, okay, well, you know, I got to go have supper. I'm tired. I need a nap, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. People go to log out, and there's no log out menu for them. And everyone's like, well, what the heck is going on? And then they get, do they walk back or do they get transported back? I can't remember because it's been a little while.
They get forcibly teleported back.
Yeah, and this is one of the creepy scenes in the game. But the gentleman who is the pioneer and the best MMO designer out there comes up and he tells them what is happening in the game. He says, I've purposely taken out the log out button. You cannot log out of this game. And this game is now, you are linked to it. He's like, if you die in the game, you die in real life. Because it will send a shock through and just melt your brain, basically.
Yeah.
And they're like, and if someone tries to take you out of it by taking the headset off, it will zap you and you will die. He said there's already been a few people who have tried that. And he says the only way to get out of this game is to defeat this game. And it's a level-based, almost like a dungeon crawler in a way.
Right.
MMO. And they have to get to, I think it's a level 100.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the storyline. It's how everyone adapts to being stuck in this MMO game and basically what happens. So you have all the reactions, you have how society deteriorates, you have the interpersonal relationships. It's just an amazing thing. And one of the things that even my wife, who hates anime, who doesn't play MMOs, all this kind of stuff, or doesn't play too many, she likes this show. She is watching because of all the things that are coming up. One of the big things, and she says this is where she would fit in, because we talk about this for hours now after watching an episode, that some people, when they realize they're stuck in the game, they just stay in the starter town, and they don't leave the starter town. They're too afraid to go out. They're too afraid to do anything. And they basically just shrivel up and die. Like some of them just die from neglect. And some people never go to the starter town. And yeah, I won't say anymore because I'm going to start getting into spoilers. But it's just
all right. Now I've added it to my list, so I'm watching as soon as we get off the show.
You should. Let me add one of the points, the salient points. You ready? One of the coolest things they do is he gives them all a gift after he tells them they have to get to level 100 to get out of the game. And the news worldwide is covering this, and everybody has been informed. And Chris is right. There were 132 people whose families unplugged them and they died. So now everyone's family knows not to unplug them, not to interfere with this NeuroNet interface. But then he hands them all a mirror. And when they look at the mirror, it changes them from their avatar to what they really look like in real life. So all of a sudden, you've got girls that turn into boys, but they're still wearing the girls' costumes. And this guy looks at him and he goes, "You lied. You're not an 18-year-old girl." So now they all look like they really do in real life. So there's no hiding behind your avatar.
That would be so cool.
Oh, yeah. That is the funniest scene in. I'm about 3/4 of the way through the series, and as far as I know, there's only one season. At least on my Netflix, there's only one season. And yeah, that's in the first little bit. And it's this girl and the guy, and it's the typical anime little cute girl and whatnot with this big strapping guy, and they zap into what they look like. And all of a sudden, this little cute 14-year-old anime girl is this big 50-some scrawny, scruffy-looking guy, and oh, it's so funny. I still laugh about it thinking of that scene.
It was great.
I just checked on my Netflix here in the U.S., and it's just one season here also. So.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal show. I like I said, I'm not into anime, and I watched it. I mean, I've watched Macross, Macross Saga, and Vampire Hunter D, and all the big stuff. But I haven't really gotten into it. I definitely wouldn't watch a series that is subtitled unless I had to. But I knew Fal wanted to speak about it, so I wanted to have at least one other person that had seen it. And about 5 minutes into it, I went, "Oh my God! Now I got to watch this whole season."
There's probably a setting on Hulu to change it to English.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure. But again, I wasn't really paying attention. I was mad at Fal because I was having to read subtitles. And then I got hooked, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" It's like every gamer's dream and nightmare at the same time. We all want immersive virtual reality games. All of us.
When you first started talking about it, I was picturing Ready Player One in my head. Have you ever heard of the novel? Have y'all ever read that novel?
I have not.
I think I've heard of it, but yeah,
it's basically the same thing. It's set in the future, and there's an immersive MMO, and the founder dies and says there's a big Easter egg, and that if you find it, you win everything. So everybody in the world is pretty much quit their job. Real life is stopped. Everybody works in the MMO. Everybody plays in the MMO. They go to school in the MMO. And there's a group of people hunting for these Easter eggs to find the key to unlock the big prize, which is everything. And there's a big company that's out to do it too, and they actually go around killing people in real life to get to it if they think they're getting too close ahead of them. So,
well, do me a favor, Chris. Shoot me a link with that book's information. We'll put that in the show notes as well. Okay. That sounds interesting. But Fal, thank you very much for running across that. It was an unexpected pleasure. I'm very excited about it. Can't wait to find out more. I like the main character's social stigma and his very quickly decided strategy to win the game. I thought that was kind of cool.
In the first episode, did they talk? No. Because that's the title of the second one. Never mind, I won't do anything. There are episodes literally that will almost make you cry. They are that intense, and like you just feel for what's going on in there. Like it's incredible. And the one thing I have to say, because I'm really picky about my anime now, it's clean.
Right.
It's very clean. There's no well, I shouldn't say there's no nudity. There's a little bit of skin now and again, but not very much. And the violence isn't overly intense or anything. Like I said, this is something I can sit with my wife and watch, and she's fine with it.
How long are the episodes?
25 minutes, not even.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you take out the intro and the ending, yeah, they might be 20 minutes, but they're definitely worth it.
Cool.
Very cool, very cool. All right, let's see here. I screwed up, guys. I forgot to put the link on the Facebook page for our live cast, I think. I could have sworn I had done it, actually. Let me take a peek. But if you're wondering how to watch this, no, I did have it on there. Okay. If you are wondering how to find us and be a part of the live podcast, you want to go to the All Things Geek Facebook page. Now, I'm going to say this, and no, you're not going to listen, and I'm sorry, but there's actually a more than one way to get in on this action. Okay. We have. Okay, hold on one second. You can. Blah 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 schlobby slob. Apparently, I can't talk and type at the same time, so I apologize. Give me a second here, guys.
Well, while you're doing that, did you see the post I put on Facebook about the silhouette superhero art?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That was awesome. There's this guy who's doing superhero silhouettes, basically, and it's like one's called the Doctor, and you see the silhouette of a guy in a box, and then the big shadow cast is the Hulk. Just the silhouette of the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's one called the Nerd. a kid climbing up the side of the wall, and then it's a silhouette of Spider-Man hanging out at the top of it. So it's just black and white silhouettes. They looked awesome. They're like $35, I think. I'll have to get the link for it and send that to you too.
Yeah, I think you put it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I did.
Fantastic.
I may end up having to buy a couple of those.
Right. Well, okay, so I've got it back to what I was going to say here. What I was saying was, if you want to join us, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either follow us on Google+, which is All Things Geek, or you can go to Facebook and search for All Things Geek, but there's actually like 7 or 8. By the way, the other All Things Geek podcast died. So
Really?
yeah, they split up, are no longer together. I talked to Cosmic Casey, who's Casey Danielle Pierce, who was the girl that covered the cosplay on that show, on that podcast.
Yeah.
And she may come on ours once in a while and visit with us.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat.
Female perspective.
Once in a while, we can't make a regular thing of it. I mean, we're geeks. We're not, there's no girls allowed. I'm just kidding. There's plenty of geek girls. Don't get mad. If you do get mad, send all of your hate mail to Chris Price at allthingsgeek.info. Chris Price at allthingsgeek.info.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, did you have anything you wanted to talk about?
And if you forward them there, they just go right to Omni anyway, because that's not a real address. So.
Yeah, we have a catch-all, so you can do anything at allthingsgeek.info. You could do Liberty Gibbet. Don't ask me how to spell that, and we'll get it. So yeah, don't worry.
Omni's a jerk.
Yeah, well, hey, that's a good one. Thanks. Bob, did you have anything you wanted to cover tonight?
Well, I just wanted to mention that anybody else watch that show Almost Human?
Mm-hmm.
They've canceled it already.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of gave up after the second or third episode. I kind of had that vibe.
Oh, it was awesome all the way through, but I don't know, Fox, like I said, that's the reason why I don't give Gotham much hope. We'll be talking about Gotham next year.
That's
on
true.
Debt Television Society.
Chris Price, do you have anything you want to talk about?
No. Well.
Falchion, anything else you want to cover?
No, I think I'm good.
Good deal. Well, that's it for me. I'm Omniac. Until next time, thanks for joining me, everyone, and stay geeky, my friends. See you guys.
Later.
Yeah.